Hello, hello. Welcome to the season 2 finale of Facts with Dak. We've got some big announcements today, honestly. There has been a lot happening over here, a lot happening behind the scenes, and I'm very excited to share it all with you. I want you to know right now that Facts with Dak is not going anywhere. Some things are going to change. They're going to look a little different, and there's going to be like a little bit of a different structure to things, but it's not going anywhere. I'm sure some of you have seen that I have started a second project, and we will get to talking about that. But today's episode is just going to be kind of a little catch up, a little what to expect from season 3, what to expect as far as changes, and a couple little announcements for some things that I've been doing in the background. And I'm just excited to sit down and hang out with you for a bit today. The last few years have been really difficult, and the beginning of this year was really difficult, and I have been through some shit. Life is mean sometimes, and so we've been going through it. But I will say that I have totally stuck to my guns, and I have continued to make choices that feel right and aligned for me, showing up in spaces that feel that way, and that shit works. That shit works, okay? Like, I can't explain the feeling that comes with being aligned. There's an episode of Seinfeld. This is probably going to age me, because Seinfeld. But there's an episode of Seinfeld, and if you haven't seen Seinfeld, that's fine. It's not like, you'll probably still understand. The main character, his name is Jerry, if you haven't seen Seinfeld. I feel like this is crazy. I feel like everyone knows what Seinfeld is, but that's not true. Some people aren't going to know what Seinfeld is, and that's crazy. I am getting old. Anyways, so Jerry is talking to his friend about how he always breaks even. And this is something that I think of anytime I think of living in alignment, because this example just feels like it embodies it very well for me in my brain. And so he's talking to his friend about how he always breaks even. And she's like, okay, well, like, give me, I can't remember what amount of dollar bill it is. It might be a 20. I can't remember. She's like, give me, for example's sake, a 20. And so he gives her a $20 bill, and she crumples it up and she throws it out the window of his apartment. And he's like, what the hell? Why did you just throw that $20 bill out the window? And she's like, well, we'll see, like, if you break even, if it comes back to you. And at some point during the episode, I can't remember if it's exactly that like same moment or not, or if it's later in the episode, he puts on a coat that he hasn't worn for a while, and he puts his hands in the pockets and like goes to zip it up, and there's a $20 bill in the pocket. And it's just one of those things where it's just like, even when you're living in alignment, life is still going to happen. Okay. I'm not sitting here saying that like, if you make the right choices for you and you walk to your own path and you do your own thing, everything in life is going to be beautiful and it works out for you and everything's perfect. No, that is not what I'm saying whatsoever. Okay. But generally, your like energy and the things that surround you will be positive. And so this like break even kind of thing for me is living in alignment. So I'll give you an example for myself. I have been booking out quite far with my business, and I have been very busy, and I've been kind of like toying with the idea of closing some of my books. I offer a few services, so I'm not in a position to close off my books completely and just not take any new clients ever. I also don't want to do that, really. I don't love that vibe, unless you are like just jammed all the time, which like love that for you. But I think I've kind of been playing around with the idea of like closing out some spots. And so I did. I said that I'm not taking new clients for a couple of the services. And the services I chose were for a couple different reasons. Number one was I just don't enjoy them as much. They don't bring me as much joy. I don't feel like they're as rewarding to offer. And there was just a couple of services on my menu that I learned because I thought they'd be really cool, and I ended up just not loving them. And that happens. You know, sometimes you learn something or you start something and it ends up not being for you, and that's fine. And so for me, living in alignment was like, okay, I feel when I get a booking for this service, it doesn't feel good. I'm not looking forward to it. I don't really want to do it. I don't feel as like confident in it. And so I think I should take this off my menu. There's other people that can offer this service in a better way than I can, and I would rather just people go see them. And so I took it off my menu. And almost immediately, like I would say within the next couple days, the remaining spots in my schedule filled with my favorite services to offer. And so to me, and like I'm sure there's gonna be people listening and be like, that's not connected at all. That was just coincidence. And like, you can live in your coincidence bubble, okay? But I am going to live in my spiritual aligned universal bubble over here, okay? And so to me, it's like the Jerry break even thing where like I put out into the universe, hey, I don't love these things. They don't bring me joy. They're not sparking anything for me. And I feel like there's better opportunity for other people to get these from others that like it is aligned for them. And the universe saw me do that and was like, yes, good for you. This was not for you in the long run. This was not your thing. I'm proud of you for like taking that off your plate and making some room for yourself. Here is some things that bring you joy. And I don't know. I wholeheartedly believe in that shit, okay? I believe in the break even. I believe in the universal power of give and take and manifestation and all of those things. And I feel like in the last couple months, I have really stepped into just like, I genuinely do not care what other people think or what other people are doing. I am going to do what I think is right. I'm going to do what I think is best for me. And, you know, what sticks around or what comes to me at that point is very obviously meant for me in some capacity. And what misses. Like, that's fine. It's obviously it's not meant for me and I don't need it in my life. And so honestly, it's freeing. It's very freeing to just make my own choices and do my own thing. And I feel confident and I feel secure and I'm just feeling really good. And this is coming after a period of time where I was really not doing good. I was quite unwell, mentally, physically, and I'm feeling like life is turning around a little bit, you know, we're back on the right path. I found myself again. I'm like getting comfy with me again after a period of time where I was just so uncomfortable, and it feels really good. And I'm very excited to bring you along for all of this over the next couple months. I am motivated and excited, and I feel like I'm just full of like joy and love right now. And that's kind of weird, honestly, for this time of year. I am someone that deals with like quite brutal seasonal depression, and I live in Saskatchewan. It's mid-October. That shit is coming for us. I'm sorry, I know, but it is. We know it. We all know that it's coming. It's starting to get colder. There's frost on my car in the window that I gotta scrape off. So I'm starting to prep, you know, hibernation mode. But usually at this time of year, I would be feeling it quite a bit more than I am right now. And I think that that is just a testament to living authentically and showing up authentically and being rewarded for that, honestly, by the universe. Okay, so the thing I want to talk about is what I feel is the elephant in the room, which is, yes, I started another podcast. And no, Facts with Dak is not being canceled. I've had a couple of people reach out and ask me if I am just transitioning to the new podcast and I'm quitting Facts with Dak. And that is not what's happening. I'm not quitting Facts with Dak. There is going to be some changes, though. I have felt for a little while that the name is just not aligned, honestly. I like the sound of it. It's got like a nice ring to it. I love a rhyme. Okay, so Facts with Dak sounds nice. But initially I had kind of thought like, I'm coming on here and sharing like facts. Okay. So that was kind of where the title came from initially. And I was really stoked for it. And as the podcast has kind of grown and evolved, it really just doesn't feel like it encapsulates anything that I'm trying to get across here. It doesn't seem like it's aligned with my intention. And so for the past little while, I've just kind of been thinking about what my intention is with this podcast and where I want to take it and what kind of a title would better encapsulate that. So really what I want to do is share my experiences and life lessons and just general learnings, and hopefully that will help someone else in a similar situation handle things in a better way. Or, I don't mean better, like I make mistakes, I'm a human, but maybe you can avoid the mistakes that I've made through listening to my experiences, and you can navigate a similar situation in a better way for you, or, just learn something and be able to make a better choice for yourself, carve a more aligned path for yourself. I keep saying this phrase to my friends and my loved ones and my family, and I really want to show up as the person that little me needed when I was struggling. And that's what I want this podcast to be. I want to share my experience and share lessons and love and insight and thoughts on everything so that hopefully you can take something from that and navigate life in an easier, healthier, more aligned way. And so for quite some time, I was actually writing a book. And this was a while ago. I do love writing. I love writing very much. I've mentioned that before, and that is going to be part of the conversation coming up here. But I was writing a book at one point, and even though I'm quite young, I have lived a very full 32 years. I have gone through many experiences, and this book was essentially supposed to be like a memoir, kind of, but had the same intention that I have with the podcast. And as I've kind of grown and evolved, I don't really feel like writing a book is what I want to do. I'm down for like poetry and short essays and things like that, but I kind of abandoned the book and I didn't really feel motivated to keep doing it. And it's just not sparking joy for me, honestly, anymore. I don't feel like I want to do it. I don't feel called to do it. But the intention is very similar here. And so I kind of wanted to carry some of that over. And while I was brainstorming for a name for the book, I heard this saying, and I can't for the life of me now remember where it came from or where I heard it. But it was something along the lines of believing in the power of sharing experiences, because your experience could be someone else's survival guide. And that like stuck with me because, we're all unique. We have our own lives. They look very different. We experience life very differently, but there is parallels that happen every so often. Human experience, there's a lot of similarities and things that kind of coincide with each other. And there is things that we can help each other navigate because, there's things that as humans, we're all going to deal with in some capacity at some point in our life. And so, as I was kind of trying to come up with another name for the podcast and search for something that felt a little bit more aligned, I remembered this book that I was writing, and I remembered the title of the book that I was writing, and something about it just clicked. And so I would officially like to welcome you to what was formerly known as Facts with Dak, and will, moving forward, be known as someone else's survival guide. I'm so excited, honestly. And I'm just like excited to kind of get more personal and get a little deeper into my experiences, the lessons that I've learned, what I'm still hoping to learn, and start more of a conversation with the people that are following and listening. And just, at the end of the day, if I can help one person navigate something in a healthier way for themselves, or a safer way, or an easier way for themselves through sharing my experience, like I'm good. That's kind of my goal in life, is to share love and experience in hopes of helping others live a more aligned and authentic life. And so, welcome. Welcome to someone else's survival guide. You're going to slowly see some things kind of change on the social media page and the podcast page. I've got new cover art, and things are just going to look a little bit different. Everything is going to release the same. I'm still going to be doing an episode once per month. I think that's quite manageable. I am going to be taking off November and December. I'm sorry, but I need some time. Work is very busy for me right now, and I also have the other podcast that we're trying to get off the ground, and I just have a lot of projects and I need a little bit of a break. I need a little bit of a break for me. I also think that with changing the intention and the direction I think that I'm taking this podcast in, I want to take a little bit of time to really sink into that and come back for season 3 fresh and in the new year and aligned and new. So this will be our last episode until January. I'm so sorry, I know. But if you're looking for something else to listen to, you can tune in to my other podcast, Off Brand. There was such a good response, honestly, to my episode with Andrew in August. Everyone really loved it. And I got a lot of really great feedback. And honestly, it was a really fun experience for me as well. And I can't necessarily speak for Andrew, but he's doing this podcast with me, so he also must have enjoyed it. And so we just went for it, honestly. Both of us enjoyed the process, and both of us had interest in having a podcast with a friend or, someone else, just doing something as a collaborative space. And the response was really good for our episode. Lots of people really enjoyed it. And so it was kind of a no-brainer, honestly, to just start our own podcast together. I'm really excited to kind of join this collaborative creative space with someone else too. That's something that's a little bit more new for me. A lot of my creative expressions are something that I do on my own. They're just for me. And so this is kind of exciting, where I get to share that creative bit of myself and my love for this whole podcast creation and process and all of this stuff with a friend. And so I'm very excited about that, and I hope that you guys love it just as much as we do. There is just the intro episode out so far. It's about half an hour, I think, so it's just like a nice little bite size, kind of what to expect from us. And I hope you guys are as stoked as I am, honestly. I'm very excited about it. I drew the cover art, which I was really excited about as well. I don't get to do a whole lot of that. And it's just really fun, honestly. I'm very excited for the next couple months. It's going to be a lot of growth, a lot of creative projects, and I'm excited to step in and lean into just like creating and being artistic in a bunch of different forms, and just like sharing all of that with the world. All right, that is all for this episode. I wanted to keep things kind of short and sweet, to the point, before we take a little bit of time off and then come back in January. Thank you so much, honestly, for listening to the last 20 episodes, for supporting me through the last 20 episodes. I'm so excited to see where this podcast takes me, and, shout out Off Brand. Make sure that you follow the other podcasts that I've started so you can still get your fix for the couple months while I am not making any solo episodes. And that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for your support and love over the last year. It means the absolute world to me. I will be back in January 2026 with someone else's survival guide, and I hope that the rest of your Monday is as magic as you are.